Welcome to your February 2022 horoscope. My name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be covering the major transits for the month ahead using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. I strongly recommend that you watch your horoscope for your ascendant sign first and foremost, and that is because the ascendant sign will be the most accurate for you overall, generally speaking. Having said that, the sun sign horoscope will tell you more about your life goals and your career, whereas the moon sign horoscope will pertain more to your family and your living circumstances. So if you've got time to watch all three, go for it. Now, lastly, before I get into your horoscope, I just wanted to let you know that I still have my 2022 yearly horoscopes available for purchase, so I will leave a link in the description box below. And now let's get into your horoscope. Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your February 2022 horoscope. Before I get into your reading today, I just want to pull an animal spirit totem card to see what energies will be with you for February. And straight away, we've got the mouse. So this tells me that there is some sort of new creative or professional goal that you have where you are playing small. So if there is a startup company that you want to initiate, or if there is a job at work that you're applying for or that you've seen online, this tells me that you can go way bigger than what you have initially been planning. Now, you can interpret this in a number of other ways. This could be to do with an event that you're planning, or some sort of speech that you're meant to give, or even new software or technology or something that you're developing. The bottom line here is to scale up your idea and your objectives. Now, on the 1st of February, we're going to see a new moon in Aquarius take place at 12 degrees in your second house. And this will be in a close conjunction to Saturn at 15 degrees. This new moon will also be squaring Uranus in Taurus at 10 degrees in your fifth house. New moons indicate a new chapter or a new beginning taking place somewhere in our lives. Given that this is occurring in your second house, this is likely to affect you with regard to your finances, your diet, or perhaps even your self-esteem. So on one hand, on the financial front, perhaps there is something creative that you do which is now going to be generating a new and more solid stream of income. So just as an example, if there are drawings that you sell and you only sell them here and there, this new moon in Aquarius in your second house can see you selling more of these, or perhaps you're going to be doing something creatively on a more consistent basis, and this could be boosting your self-esteem. Now, another way that this can play out is that you may be having to live off a little bit less, financially speaking, for 1 month, 6 months, or 18 months. And I'm basing this on a 29-day lunar cycle, seeing the full moon in 6 months' time, or even the next full moon in Aquarius, I should say, in 18 months' time. Now, this can see you setting new financial goals for yourself, or perhaps you are going to be implementing some sort of new budget scheme. Now, with this square to Uranus in your fifth house, essentially this is throwing a spanner in the works, or perhaps something happens with regard to your romantic partner or your children, which is essentially propelling you forwards with this new focus on your finances. Now, another way that this can play out is that you may be implementing a new diet, and perhaps you are restricting yourself by cutting out, for example, dairy, or maybe you're becoming a vegetarian or a vegan, or perhaps you're just simplifying your diet. With regard to this new moon occurring in your second house, and this a change in your approach and your attitude towards spending and or your eating habits, this could cause a little bit of friction with your children, if you have children, or your romantic partner, if you are in a relationship, or perhaps a change in your financial status is due to some unforeseen circumstances that crop up with owning your own business. Now, on the 9th of February, we're going to see Mars in Capricorn in your first house, making a trine to Uranus in your fifth house. So this transit indicates that you are going to experience some sort of stroke of good luck or a windfall of abundance. And I'm saying this because trine aspects are very, very beneficial in nature, and the fifth house is associated with good luck and good fortune. So perhaps this stroke of good luck could produce something of material value. Maybe you win a prize or a coveted valuable or possession, or someone could gift you a valuable or possession. Now, for those of you who own your own business, perhaps your business is turning a profit in an unexpected way. This could be by setting some sort of new record, or perhaps there is a product or a service that you sell which previously was doing really poorly, and now there's just a change of circumstances where this becomes your best performing or best selling product. Now, another way that this transit can play out is that you may be setting some sort of new personal record for yourself. And I'm saying that because Mars is connected to sports, and the fifth house is also connected to sports, and Mars is associated with self-development. And when it's in the first house, this is about improving yourself on a physical level or on a very personal level. With Mars ruling over your 11th house, maybe you have achieved some sort of long-term goal or dream that you set that you really didn't think that you would achieve for a very, very long time. Lastly, with this particular transit, your spontaneous behavior with regard to attending a party or an event or going on a trip could lead to some sort of unexpected stroke of good luck or good fortune which enters your life. Now, on the 11th/12th of February, depending where you live in the world, we are going to see Mercury and Pluto form a conjunction at 27 degrees in Capricorn in your first house. The first time that we saw this conjunction take place recently was at the end of December in 2021. The second time was at the end of January in 2022, and this will be the third and final conjunction that they make for quite a while. Given that Mercury rules over your mentality, and it rules over your ninth house in astrology, which represents your belief systems, I see this as your beliefs having undergone some sort of huge transformation, and perhaps this started occurring at the end of December in 2021. On one level, with this conjunction to Pluto, perhaps you felt quite tormented by your belief systems. And what I mean by that is maybe you had a lack of faith. Now, this could be on a religious level, on a spiritual level, or perhaps this is more to do with your faith in the world at large. So you could have gone through some sort of pessimistic period in your life, and now with this conjunction to Pluto, you're having this opportunity to really come out of this mental prison that you were in. Now, with Pluto ruling over your 11th house, perhaps you have revised your long-term goals and dreams. And with Mercury ruling over your ninth house, maybe you're now able to understand your full potential with this situation. And perhaps a new dream or a new goal has emerged. Now, with Pluto ruling over your 11th house, this can represent that some of you will go through ceasing to participate in certain groups, communities, or even your own friendship group. And that is because Pluto can represent the death of something. So perhaps since the end of 2021, you've been really reevaluating your participation in certain groups and communities, and maybe you're realizing that for you to be able to reach your full potential and actually prosper with regard to your health and your work and your own vision for your future, as indicated by Mercury ruling over the 6th and 9th houses in your chart, you really have to walk away from these people so that you can actualize your full potential. Now, this conjunction can see you having experienced the opportunity to consciously perceive the impact that your attention on imbalances has had on your mental health. And I'm saying this because Mercury rules over the 6th house in your chart, and the 6th house represents conflict and any state of imbalance, with Mercury ruling over the 9th house, which is connected to your belief systems, your philosophical beliefs, and also world politics. Perhaps your attention on certain things has had a very negative impact on your mentality. So perhaps you have been pruning how much negativity you are willing to consume by your attention to negative things that are occurring in the world. Now, I'm certainly not saying that this is about, going into a hole and never looking at anything online ever again. This is more about you understanding when you are physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically being negatively impacted by your daily habits. Now, the good news is that Pluto conjunct Mercury in your first house indicates your ability to transform and heal. And this presents an opportunity for you to renew and rejuvenate your mental vitality through the choices that you make every day. Now, on the 16th of February, we're going to see a full moon in Leo take place at 27 degrees in your 8th house, and it will be making an in conjunction to Pluto in Capricorn in your first house. Full moons indicate the end of a chapter or a situation reaching its peak. So many of you Capricorns will have gone through some sort of huge transformation and healing journey as represented by this full moon in your 8th house. So perhaps you've gone through some sort of intense recovery process, and perhaps you've gone on a physical healing journey. If not physical, you could have gone on a psychological healing journey. Or perhaps you are released from the grip of some sort of addiction, or this could be the end of an existential crisis that you've been experiencing. Another way that this can play out is that you may have achieved your objective with regard to mutual resources. An example of this could be you receiving an inheritance or receiving child support money. Now, some of you may have discovered some sort of intuitive or even psychic ability. Now, this in conjunction to Pluto in your first house basically has a bit of a jarring or distracting energy to it. So on one level, there is something here to celebrate. On a different level, how you feel physically and even emotionally could be quite confusing when it comes to if you're comparing this goal that you've achieved and then the aftermath. So essentially, a way that I can read this is that now that you've gone through this journey and your life has changed for the better, you may now be at this point where you're like, well, what now? What does this mean for my future? I hadn't really actually anticipated achieving this goal or achieving this milestone. So with Pluto ruling over your 11th house, which represents your long-term goals and dreams for the future, perhaps you are now coming to terms with the end of this crisis that you went through, and now you're just sort of challenged with knowing how to proceed or how to even accept this physical, emotional, spiritual, or psychological transformation. So essentially, it's like you've achieved a goal that you never thought that you could achieve. And again, this could be very much mental or emotional. And now that you are free of this, it's like you don't really know what to do with yourself. Now, on the 16th/17th of February, depending where you live in the world, Venus and Mars will form a conjunction at 16 degrees in your first house. So this is a really, really positive thing because this is about the new journey beginning. And this will have you feeling like it's New Year's Day energy and like anything is possible. So essentially, conjunctions carry the energy of a new moon. So this will have a very similar impact to what new moons do each month. Because this is occurring in your first house and it involves Venus and Mars, this is about you having a renewed sense of vitality, as is the function of Mars, with regard to your creative abilities, as indicated by Venus itself and Venus ruling over your 5th house. So you will be setting new goals. For some of you, this could be to get fit or to get healthy or some kind of physical strength goal. And I'm saying that because Mars rules over muscle development, it rules over sports. And when it is in the first house, we have increased levels of vitality and energy. Now, this can see you deciding that you want to start dating, and this is indicated by the fact that Venus rules over your 5th house. Now, some of you may be deciding that you want to start trying to have a family, and again, this is indicated by the 5th house, and for those of you who already have children, this could see you changing your relationship with your children. Now, if this is not impacting you on the romantic front or with regard to children, this could see you setting new goals with regard to some sort of creative project or natural talent or ability that you want to pursue. With Venus ruling over your 10th house, this could see you setting new career goals, or perhaps you're setting new long-term goals as indicated by Mars ruling over your 11th house. Mars rules over your 4th house as well, so this could see you wanting to relocate, or perhaps you're saving up to buy a new home. Obviously, I've mentioned many different ways that this can impact you, and that is because Venus and Mars rule over 2 planets each, which means that not only is your 1st house activated, but 4 other houses in your chart are activated as well. In a nutshell, it is a great time for you to set new goals and start on that day. Now, lastly for the month, on the 24th/25th of February, depending where you live in the world, and by the way, when I say that, it's because it is dependent on your time zone. So you really want to check when these transits are going to be occurring for you. Anyway, on this date, Mercury in Aquarius in your 2nd house will make a square to Uranus in Taurus in your 5th house. So this can see you feeling quite challenged by your desire to commence something new when it comes to your creative objectives. And I'm saying that because the 5th house represents our natural talents and abilities, and also the 5th house is connected to owning your own business. So with Mercury being in your 2nd house, which is related to your self-esteem as well as your finances, some of you may feel quite challenged, as shown by the square aspect, when it comes to launching your own business, launching new products or services, or perhaps you want to expand in a way which stretches you financially speaking. And this is indicated by Mercury being in the 2nd house of finances and making a square, which is a very challenging aspect. Now, this can see you wanting to stretch yourself in a mental way or with regard to your practical skills and abilities. So on one hand, maybe you want to learn a new practical skill which involves your hands as represented by Mercury ruling over the hands, or perhaps this is to do with you wanting to learn something new, and this is indicated by Mercury ruling over the mind, which represents your intellect. Now, you may have to take some kind of financial risk, or this could be a risk when it comes to your current working environment. And I'm saying that because the 5th house is associated with gambling. Uranus represents things happening in an unexpected and sudden way, and Mercury rules over your 6th house, which represents your work. Now, Mercury also rules over your 9th house, which represents your long-term vision for your future. So essentially, it's like you're stuck between this place of wanting to expand and grow and have new experiences, and perhaps being limited financially speaking, or with regard to your current set of work circumstances. I just want you to know though that on the 24th/25th of February, we are also going to see Mars in Capricorn sextiling Neptune in Pisces. Venus in Capricorn will also sextile Neptune in Pisces, and Mercury in Capricorn will sextile Chiron in Aries. So despite this challenging square aspect, there is an overwhelmingly large amount of supportive energy with regard to these other transits which are happening simultaneously. And just remember what I said at the beginning about going much bigger than you initially anticipated, despite the pressure that you may feel with regard to stretching yourself. And so Capricorn, that's all I have for you for February 2022. If you'd like to purchase your 2022 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. Enjoy your month ahead, and I will see you guys next month.